Hey, it's Rick Dancer. Tonight on the show, we've got a lot of stuff going on for you. The Gallipoli campaign back in World War I. We have a story from 1999 about that. And also, we're going to take you to the Thompson's Mill. If you've never been there, it is such a cool place. We found it a few weeks ago. And while we're at it, we'll introduce you to a cool little cafe in town. All that coming up next on Rick Dancer TV.
I'm not dead. That sounds like something interesting.
Kathy and I are always looking for new places to go, so we were up in the Shed area. In fact, we're going to show you the Shed Cafe in just a few minutes. But we found a brochure on Thompson's Mill. So we drove a couple of miles out of town and found the most amazing, it's not a state park, it's a state site. But if you have not visited it, you really need to go. The woman there took us down into the dungeons of this big former granary. And, well, here's the video. Watch.
Sitting inside the Shed Cafe, we found a little brochure about the Thompson's Mill State Heritage Site, so we went to visit.
We bought it in 2002, and it became a public place in 2007, and was never out of production from the time it was built in 1858.
So why is this so special for Oregon?
It has to do with the pioneering history and the fact that these people were such survivors. And this mill survived, whereas the others have not at all. And it had to do with the owners, the pioneers. And that's what we think is special about it. And it served the local farmers. That's what it was built for, to bring their grain here and to produce flour so that they didn't have to go to Portland. This little family mill wouldn't stand up to the test of time because economics changed.
So when did the state buy this?
2002. And it's putting out stuff. It's open every day, but maybe New Year's, Christmas, Thanksgiving, 9 to 4, every day.
And Carolee, what do you like about this place?
The history of it, it's peaceful, it's quiet.
This has to be one of the more unusual state parks.
Well, it's a state heritage site. It's not a park per se, because it's just day use and people who are interested in history. I am personally invested in it because I love the pioneering spirit. I think maybe I was born in the wrong century.
All this month, we're taking you to the Redoubt Mountain Lodge in Alaska. It's a place where my son actually works, and we went up there a few years ago and shot some videos for him. And every time we air these, people really love them. In fact, I just heard, and I think we're going back this summer, so we're going to update and you'll get to see some new stuff. But this shows the little lodges, the cabins, and where this place is, and who doesn't love Alaska? So here's part 2.
This is Alaska's version of Grand Central Station.
There's a huge percentage of the state, like 98% or something, that's not even accessible by road. So airplanes, whether wheels or floats, have to be able to service people that live or want to run businesses in the wilderness.
Everything is flown into and out of the Redoubt Mountain Lodge on a float plane. Everything.
You fly for about 45 minutes down the inlet, down the ocean. And it's new and unique, but it's not quite spectacular beauty. It's just ocean and seashore and coastline. And then you get into the mountains all of a sudden.
A trip to Redoubt Mountain is like a trip back in time to another world.
Flown into, I can't even tell you how many dozens of lodges over my flying career, and Redoubt Mountain Lodge is the most beautiful location, for one thing.
There are no roads, no cell phones, and no reminders of life as we know it. This is wilderness. This is what earned Alaska the honor of being considered the last frontier.
The main features is certainly the Mount Redoubt, is to be able to look at a 10,000-foot volcano, active volcano within view from a number of different angles around the surrounding area. But what's also become really popular is just the Crescent River Valley. Just a picturesque valley with rivers converging and flowing right through the center of it, and 4,000-foot peaks either side of you.
Peaks that seem to watch over you. Every turn, every view filled with towering mountains.
I think it's just more and more difficult to find completely remote locations anymore with no other operators and no other crowds.
At Redoubt Mountain Lodge, isolation is their specialty. The lodge is situated on 5 privately owned acres nestled in the shadow of Redoubt Mountain. All this in the middle of 4 million acres of national park and preserve. Here, you are alone. Just you, the other guests, the staff, and the wilderness.
We have 6 little private log cabins throughout the property. They each have their own bathroom, which includes a toilet, shower, sink, hot water, heat, with a thermostat inside for you to control. We have a queen and a twin bed in each cabin with just the best flannel sheets ever.
At Redoubt Mountain Lodge, remote doesn't mean roughing it.
Everyone says that the beds hold them hostage every morning and they don't want to get out.
There's a cedar hot tub enclosed in a gazebo with screen windows that open.
It has 300-degree views of Crescent Lake and the Chigmit Mountains with our hanging glacier. The main lodge is where all the activity happens. It's kind of the heart of the property. It's where all the life is, where I feed you, where you come to converse with the other guests, where everybody comes to just kind of chill and hang out. And we want to make sure that people are coming here and getting what they want. You're really feeling like the vacation they're on is theirs.
Life at Redoubt Mountain Lodge is simple for the guests. A simple place in the middle of the most wild, untamed land you will ever visit. In Alaska, everything is bigger, wilder, and more extreme.
We call it kind of rustic luxury because for everything that's here, it was brought in by a float plane, which is pretty incredible to think about. Nothing's really fancy 5-star rooms, but they're really nice and they're really comfortable, and the beds are, the beds are cozy, and the showers are hot, and the towels are fluffy, the food is good, and the beer is cold, and I think people get here and they realize what they really need to live and be happy, and I think it brings people back down to the basics of what do I need to be happy.
When you're in Eugene, there's no shortage of places to go out to eat, but sometimes you want to get out of town. Sometimes you want to go to rural Oregon and find something just a little different. Well, if you want to go someplace that's absolutely amazing, try the Shed Cafe in Shed, Oregon.
It was Sunday morning. Kathy and I were looking for something different, something out of town, a place we hadn't eaten before. For some reason, I thought of the town of Shed. We looked it up online, found the Shed Cafe, and headed out of town. This is truly an old-fashioned diner, but spruced up a lot. This has been in the hands of farmers for many years, and Al and his business partner have been looking to get this place for a couple of years, and finally it came on the market.
We finally got the Shed Diner after a couple years of trying. We were at Sweet Home. We're looking to put it back to the original diner form.
These buildings used to come as a kit, kind of like a Sears Roebuck house. What Al and his business partner have done is created a place where the food is really good. Fresh cut French fries, hamburgers that are awesome, chef salad. It was only $7 for that. What they're trying to do is bring back that old feel, and we felt it. The people were nice, the neighbors came in. This is truly the culture of Shed and rural Oregon. You don't want to miss this place. And in the summer, they're going to have some really cool events.
We do the roadsters every Thursday starting the second week of May. Every Thursday night, there'll be at least 50 to 200 roadsters out here renting cars.
So again, Shed Cafe, out in the middle of Shed, just you can't miss it.
We opened up the second week of March, and so this is like our 6th week open.
Shed is located between Tangent and Halsey. If you don't know where that is, you need to get out more.
Back in World War I, and back just 100 years ago in April, there was an event, a campaign called the Gallipoli Campaign during World War I. Very bloody campaign. Not a lot of people have heard about it. But back in 1999, Colleen Nelson from KEZI did a story on a gentleman from West Eugene who was going back and tracing the descendants of this bloody campaign. We're bringing it back thanks to an arrangement we have with the University of Oregon Archives Department. So take a look at this video.
Pat Garapi is an ordinary guy with an extraordinary hobby. He spends countless hours matching names and stories to the men who died in a battle that America never fought in. But Pat's work has had a major impact on families all over the world. Here's the final part of our series, Remembering the Century. It was called the Great War. It was here in the trenches that the fatal consequences of militarism, national pride, and misguided tactics were tragically played out.
It was a completely senseless war, and Gallipoli seems to epitomize the senselessness of it all.
In 1915, on the Gallipoli Peninsula in western Turkey, soldiers from Great Britain, Australia, and New Zealand fought Turkish soldiers for almost 9 months.
There was just no hope. They were sent into a meat grinder.
By year's end, the Allies had evacuated. 42,000 died, victims of small arms fire, artillery, and dysentery. The huge losses are still felt deeply in Australia and were the subject of a 1979 film directed by Peter Ware.
Getting ready to make an all-out assault on Johnny Turk, and we know we're going to give a good account of ourselves and our country. Everyone is terribly excited. There's a feeling that we're all involved in an adventure that's somehow larger than life.
It was that movie that changed Patrick Garapi's life.
Young man who was killed while he was making tea. Rather, he was wounded in the head while he was making tea. This is the letter that was sent by his friend.
It inspired him to try and tell the stories of each and every soldier who died at Gallipoli.
His brother was killed at Gallipoli, too.
For the past 11 years, he has immersed himself in research on the battle and is sorting through the life stories of those long dead.
And these were all real people. And you hear the stories about the people, what they were really like, and that they weren't soldiers per se. They were just guys like, you know, anybody else should meet. They had real jobs. Most of them were never even able to marry. They never got to experience most of the things we get to experience.
His research has even helped change history.
In the past 5 years, I've managed to prove 12 Gallipoli deaths and 2 burials to the British government. I have 3 more under consideration. I know they were killed, but if they admit that they were killed, then they have to change memorials.
Pat also has an extensive collection of battlefield artifacts.
Oh yeah, this is the piece that always gets me. That's what's left of a British soldier. That's his boot. You can't get any closer to history than to actually hold it in your hand. And to own things that were held by men who served, whether they came back or not, is, for me, it's very moving. Where is she? Where is she?
Pat shares what he has learned with descendants and relatives of lost loved ones who've died. For them, it sometimes can be a powerful revelation.
This is a milestone for me, Pat, remember? I wanted to know about my grandfather's war. I found my grandfather, Pat. What happened in the end? I'll have to stop crying. Can't stop crying. Thank you, Pat. P.S. I'll write later when I've got a grip.
Through these contacts, he has received documents, photographs, and letters. Often it's the letters that bring the dead back to life.
This was written by a man named Frank Batt. And we believe it was a suicide note because he just found out that his wife was having an affair. Dear Lily, I now take the pleasure in writing to you on the eve of my end. And I hope you will forgive me, as you know I had a hard time to think it over, and I came to think this was the only way out and set you free. I hope you will have a better time in future. I am sorry it has come to an end like this. All I have in the event of my death goes to you, and so you will not be too bad off. So say goodbye to all, and God bless you and Maud. From your broken-hearted husband, Frank Batt. He was killed the next morning. I think what we should take from Gallipoli, from the First World War, and from the wars of this century in general, are that our people are much too valuable to be wasted. I also like to think that if these people still exist in any place, that they look down with me with a little bit of fondness, that somebody down here remembers them.
Now, since our interview with Pat, he has proved another soldier's death to the English government. So now, almost a century later, that soldier will finally get some kind of a memorial, which will help provide closure to his family. Rick, Lisa, back to you.
Thanks, Colleen. Most SEAL.
I was going back through the archives of KEZI, and I thought it was really funny because it was the year was 2000, and Fred Meyer in Florence just got its first self-checking machine. And now that seems like, you know, we all do it and we're used to it. But imagine the day when this new technology came to Florence, Oregon, and it was the same when it came to Eugene and Springfield as well. But this story is really fun, and go back and look at the questions that were coming up and how now it's all just, you know, nothing. But I think this kind of shows how, that's only 15 years ago, how history has changed. Watch.
Come on. Let's come over here and try this.
Dragging people into a face-to-face confrontation with technology can be a challenge, especially if it means replacing a familiar face at the check stand.
Hi, how are you doing?
With a computer screen.
I point to that?
All you have to do is really listen to what the monitor tells you.
This is Sherry Moran's job for the week, introducing Fred Meyer shoppers in Florence to the store's new automated check stands, which look kind of like ATM machines on steroids.
They look at the machine, they go, oh my God, what is this? What is this? So what you do is you walk them through it, show them it won't come out and bite them, and then they love it. You're going to get your bills right here, and your cash is going to come out there. How about that? And you are done.
Let's go buy some more.
Go buy some more.
The Florence Fred Meyer got the new check stands last week.
This is the 12th Fred Meyer store to receive them out of 140 stores.
They work just like normal check stands, minus the checker. Now customers scan their own purchases, bag the items themselves, then pay the machine. What about products like alcohol or tobacco? How does this machine know you're old enough to buy something like that? Well, when you try to scan it,
please show your ID to the cashier now.
It asks for your ID and it alerts the cashier at the end of the station.
Yeah?
Not everyone's sold on the new check stands, though.
My wife keeps telling me that I'm technologically challenged.
John Flaherty tried one out and found he missed having a real live checker to chat with.
Because I have to interact with people. I'm not going to interact with a machine.
And even though the new machines offer a faster way through the checkout counter, there will always be some who prefer a more human touch.
$2.50. There we go. Thank you very much. You folks have a good day now.
So we're doing some work for the South Lane Mental Health Organization. And this is an amazing group of people. They do so many cool things for folks. Well, on May the 16th from 12 to 4, they're having a Wellness Day celebration at their location, which is the South Lane Mental Health Building. It's 1345 Birch Avenue. I'll put that on your screen. From 12 to 4, they're having a labyrinth walk. From 12 to 1, lifting spirits through music. 1 to 2, they're having yoga. 2 to 3, therapeutic storytelling. 2 to 4, art, video game can be therapeutic and fun, and cooking and gardening from 3 to 4. I'm telling you, you will learn so much about your community, about yourself, and about people that you may not understand. So again, it's May the 16th from 12 to 4, 1345 Birch Avenue in Cottage Grove at the South Lane Mental Health Building. Have fun, enjoy yourself, and tell them we sent you.
In an era where newspapers are struggling and a lot of larger papers are dying, we are doing well because we tend to cover things local, and we offer news that people can't get anywhere else. That's our model, is covering local news and sports and anything to do with the community. Journalism and newspapers and other media sources is important because we have the training. Most of the people that I employ have gone to college and studied journalism, and so what we offer is a source of news that can be trusted. You know, it's in an era where everybody's trying to be the first to get the news out. We actually do some research and talk to the sources and get the story and all the details behind the story.
I'm going to show you this video one more time. This is Habitat for Humanity, a fundraiser they just recently did, and I got to give them a big hand because they wanted to raise enough money, $70,000, to build a house in 1 hour. And because of some business people that you're going to see in this video who stepped up and raised $35,000 off the top, by the time that breakfast was done, they raised over $100,000. That's why I love living in this town. But watch, and then it's not over, so get involved. You too can get involved with Habitat for Humanity and do some amazing things for people. So watch.
There wasn't a discussion. It was basically, we're doing this.
Build a house in an hour? Really? What a great opportunity.
If we're going to do it, it's going to be as a community, it's going to be a community effort.
In talking to these 7 businesses, they were excited, saying, well, we'll raise half of it, and the rest of the group needs to raise the other half, and in an hour, we're going to change a life for a family.
So I put one to hold it on this side.
The 7 companies are here to stabilize this and grow it and help us ensure that we can go from just a fundraising effort to building homes.
That's our goal this year, is just in an hour, raise enough money to go ahead and just build a house for a family.
The idea to build a house in an hour is super exciting. I've been to the breakfast before, and the idea that in one breakfast we could raise enough money to sponsor an entire house, that's pretty intriguing.
For me is that it reminds us that we're not just here working to make a living, but we're also here to share a community with people who live here with us.
You're breaking the cycle of poverty when you put a family into a home and give them opportunities that they would not be able to have otherwise.
Everything stopped. I mean, I thought I was going back to school. It only took about 30 minutes before they were pulling me in the room going, we're pretty sure you have cancer.
We were able to get those medical bills under control. We started to look back into, our dream of becoming a homeowner and kind of realized that realistically it's a little bit out of our grasp. We've worked very hard to maintain our credit, and even after that huge blow of him having cancer and all that, we've managed to bounce back. I feel like we've worked so hard and we don't get handouts, we don't get help in any way. Just the thoughts that Habitat chose us, this is huge. This is changing our life forever. We are so blessed.
Well, I think the concept of, basically raising the funds or building a house in an hour is really fun, to think that you're in a room and you're engaging this group and it's not so overwhelming.
I think this is great. I'd love to see more and more and more of these done. We're happy to help and continuing help these families that are looking for shelter, and it's right in alignment with what our company stands for.
Okay. What I like about Habitat is it provides housing for people and gives them the ability to break the cycle. If someone comes into the community, has a house and a place to live, their kids now have stability that they didn't have before.
It's all about giving people a hand up, not a handout, so they're able to actually pay it forward. The people we're going to build a house for are then going to pay it forward and help build another person's house, another family's house down the road, which is really exciting. It just is a perpetual cycle that goes on forever.
We plan on being a part of Habitat for the rest of our lives and instilling this in our children.
Because we work, we live, and we play here, and when we all pitch in and contribute something, we can make a much greater impact on the other lives of the people that we share this community with.
We laid the foundation, and now we need your help to build the house.
It will blow people's minds to realize that in 1 hour, the money can be there to build this house.
When it comes to our groundbreaking ceremony, I honestly don't know how to thank them besides walking up and giving them the biggest hug I can possibly give them. I mean, there's so many situations where weight's been taken off my shoulder, especially when you're cured of cancer. And you know you're going to live longer, but this is like probably the biggest weight I've ever had taken off my shoulder, because this sets up my wife, my kids, my family. Whether cancer comes back or something comes to take me away, I know they're safe.
We want to slam this home. This is about you. This doesn't get done without the individuals who have supported Habitat for Humanity. It doesn't get done without you.
They are local stories that touch our lives, the people who move our soul, the issues that tick us off, and the lifestyle that makes us stay. History, food, entertainment, people, stories. Rick Dancer TV, local programming that still matters.